gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the Good Night Podcast. My name is Amer Rez. I'm joined today by a very special comedian. I met him in New York. Actually, I had a one night in New York with him, and I fell in love.
Is that where we met?
This is where I think I loved you, which
That's
is a
so
weird
nice.
thing to say.
I don't know why.
That evening in New York, of us together,
Yeah.
is the gayest thing I have ever done with
It
another
was
straight
super
man.
gay. I remember we had so much fun
We did.
because we you
Santi
did.
Espinosa, everybody. Santi Espinosa. Woo!
Thank you for
Lovely human being.
Thank you
great comedian.
for bringing me on your podcast and for gifting me this awesome Montreal Amer mug right here that I will use for my coffee.
That brings me joy.
And it's really cool. I like the logo. Who made the logo?
A comedian, comic. What do you call the guy who draws comics?
A sketch artist?
An artist?
A
No, a sketch artist seems like a guy who murderers and
Okay,
predators.
so some sort of like
He's
cartoon dude.
Cartoonist.
Cartoonist, yeah.
Jonathan Borello. You
Cool.
get this.
He did a good job.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
Yeah, that was the first one. We had a few iterations. You see how the color is not
I'm
as
very
good?
impressed. It's really nice.
Yeah. It's so guys, get yours, $20 at every show. I think I have it on my website as well. If you guys
It's
want to order it.
even if you don't like his comedy, I think it's pretty good. I think it's
What's
awesome.
good about it is that if the coffee doesn't make you poop, my face will eventually make you. It's great.
You were very happy in this logo.
We worked hard to get the nose well.
Yeah. That's one thing that was fun about that even in New York that now it's coming back to me. Like Sid said, like a comic from Montreal is going to be in New York. I vouch for him. You should put him on your show. And I did put you on my show, and I was surprised of how good you did.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Because I've had Montreal comics. I'm not going to say names on my show.
Names.
Actually, no. I'm just saying that for the sake of saying that. But people are like, "Let me do your show," and then they do it. But it's nothing personal. It's just like I guess a comedy scene is a little different. But your material traveled very well that night.
I was so happy to do my 9/11 joke. I was so like, oh my god, I'm gonna do a 9/11 joke in New York in the New York Comedy Club. Packed room.
Yep.
They were like, what? Packed. There was not a single seat open.
It's pretty packed, yeah.
That
was a particularly good night, yes.
And the lineup was really good.
I remember you, but I remember anyone
There was
else.
a guy, I forgot his name. He has curly hair. He's so funny.
Oh.
Tall, skinny. He works a lot with Bobby Kelly.
Yeah. Joe Russell.
Joe Russell was also, what a great comic.
Yeah.
There was that girl. She's very funny as well. She does, I think she opened for Dave Chappelle.
Yes, Adrian Appalucci? No, it wasn't. No, Adrian wasn't.
No, it wasn't Adrian. Anyways, it was like a very,
I remember
names?
you. I remember
Thank
that.
you.
You know, one of
I
my
remember
favorite
everybody.
And I remember the joke that you told that I was like, oh, this is actually super funny. That you look like an Armenian wrestling coach.
That's so funny. As I lost my hair, that joke traveled. Now I'm Ukrainian DJ. At the beginning, it was a Romanian or Armenian wrestling coach.
Armenian wrestling coach, yeah.
And as I started losing my hair, it became Ukrainian DJ.
It was so perfect. It was so.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So that, and then we after that show, I think we went to the Comedy Cellar.
Yeah, we recorded a podcast together. We recorded a podcast in the green room of the New York Comedy Club.
That's how you did my podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we did the show. It was a great show. And then you're like, hey, you want to tag along? And I just tagged along. We went to another show.
Yes.
And it was another packed back room somewhere in a bar. I don't know what the name, but it felt so cool.
Yeah.
I met Athir.
Yes. Now it's all coming back to me again. Yeah.
And
you
went up.
Comedy, the comedy, the comedy shop.
Comedy shop.
Yeah.
It was in the what do you call the village? The West.
The village, Greenwich Village.
The Greenwich Village, exactly. So I was just following you around. It was so fun. And then we ended up at the
Comedy Cellar. And
Comedy Cellar.
That's when who was under a lot of pressure. That's when he made that Kobe joke.
Ari Shafir.
Ari Shafir
was on the table, the famous table.
And that was like pretty much. Was that before or after the joke?
After, because we knew that he said something about Kobe.
And this is before COVID too.
That was before COVID, exactly.
It was that sweet spot when Kobe died and before COVID.
Yeah. So people, cared about what's happening. What people,
The timeline is very important because I remember he got a lot of comics were mad. Like,
I love him. I'm a big fan of Ari Shaffir.
one of the things that he did that I think was, it goes, not a lot of people talk about it, but he did something very important for every comic in the world, was record that podcast at the Comedy Store. It was like a 4-hour podcast, and I listened to it, where he's just telling people what they should do.
It's on YouTube. I've watched it a few times.
And if you're starting it holds up to this day, even though a lot of things have changed with the comedy scene fundamentally, because with social media, there's a lot more. You kind of like, you could, if you're good or if you get a following, you can boycott. Well, not boycott. You can bypass.
Yeah.
Take a shortcut, and
there's no
be
shortcuts.
No, to be funny, no, there isn't.
To be funny, to know how to be on stage.
To make money, I think that there is a lot. I don't know, but it's all relative. It's all relative. But I think what he said on that podcast was things that I needed to hear, and it was interesting that I had to listen to Ari Shaffir on a podcast that someone just sent me the link. And not from your like veteran comics in Montreal.
It's true, because he started in Montreal.
Yeah.
You started in Montreal in 2011. 2011, okay. And then 2014 you moved to New York.
That's right.
That's a big step.
Yeah, I started like test driving New York in 2013, but I decided to move like early 2014. Like I got the visa to do it, and I was like, I didn't see any future in the Montreal comedy.
Back then there was none.
No, there's zero.
Back then there was nothing. There was like 3 open mics.
Yeah.
And they had a club and a half.
And that's when I think the catalyst for me to like be more confident about it was that the only comedy club that I thought was my home closed, like the Comedy Works. That's when Jimbo was kind of like, close the doors, and that's when I was like, I'm not coming back to Montreal. It's over. Because one of my highlights at the time, like this is 2014. I opened for Massimo. It was one of the last headlining weekends they had, and Massimo, like one of the best comics in Montreal, one of the best 100%. Canadian comics.
He is hilarious. He's insane. He is so theatrical.
Oh, I love him.
Big fan of Massimo. If you haven't seen him, go see Massimo.
I can watch him forever, and then he did that weekend. I opened for him at the Comedy Works, and then they closed. So that's when I was like, I'm moving to New York permanently. Like, I'm not coming back.
That's a big step. But don't you find that Montreal now, with the amount of shows that we have, I went to New York. I did New York open mics. I went to Toronto. I did the open mics in Toronto. I find in Montreal, I have access to so many quality shows.
You get better. Here's the thing that's changed. I think you're right. I think that what Sid has created, and I can only speak because I only do his shows. I do occasionally. I do other people's shows, but only if I'm asked. Like I did, Paul Beluia's had a show, like a special show in some very unique place, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But like when I'm in Montreal, I only do Sid's shows.
As long as you have someone in a city.
Yeah. And I respect him as a producer, and I like him a lot as a person. So I only do his shows. I don't need to do any other show, honestly. Like, it doesn't matter to me. But he's changed the way that especially for the Montreal comic, where you can get up several times a week in front of real people. Real
crowds. You can test your material.
Yeah.
It's the best.
And that's how you get good. Because the thing about New York that's kind of, and I'm sure people know this, by now they should know this, is that moving to New York doesn't make you a good comic unless you endure like all that sort of open mic shenanigans and
it's horrible.
Going to bar shows and hanging out of the Stand and hanging out of the New York Comedy Club for years. So really the trick to New York is not really being funny, it's just being able to survive for a couple of years until you get to a point where like someone gets you into a comedy club where you start meeting people. It really is a survival. It's not really you have to be funny eventually, but it really is a survival. And then once you get past that, then you can do that. You can like, okay, I can finally perform in front of an audience. But the first 3 years of me being in New York, I only did open mics. It was horrible. I mean, it was not fun. You connect with other comics and you figure out like, okay, this is what I want to be or this is where I want to go, but you're not really sure how funny you are.
Because you're not performing in front of anyone.
No, that's why it's Montreal. The way you're saying is perfect because I see comics that I'm whenever I come back and like I see you guys on the show and I'm like, dude, there's like legit like the levels increased a lot.
And I see when comics from other cities show up, I'm like, okay, let's see what they have. I'm like, okay, they're good. I haven't yet been blown away.
Yeah, no, 100%.
No, we have perfect cities. Our rhythm is better because we have actual crowds.
Yeah. It used
And,
to be like
we
the
have
dudes
more
from
material.
Toronto. Like I remember, like at the comedy was like if there's like a gang of Toronto comics that would
Yeah.
come and like host the open mic, and
Yeah.
people would be like, "Oh my God, that is like this guy
Toronto."
from Toronto."
Yeah.
Like Mark the Bonus is here hosting the open
Mark
mic.
DeMorris is hilarious. I love it.
Oh, I love Mark the Bonus. Shout out to Mark. And like same, like I met Alex Pavone, who's in New York right now. I met him at an open mic in Montreal here in comedy. And like when he came to Montreal, it was like the Toronto guys are so much funnier.
Yeah, just
They're
the idea
so
of
much
Toronto,
funnier.
yeah.
I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think that because we needed someone that was not a comic, that was just
Handle it like a
interested
business,
in
yeah.
like, hey, I want to put stage time. You guys get
Yeah.
good. And that's what's made Montreal, like you don't have to be in New York to be good.
No, exactly. And you can, right off the top, like right off the bat, perform in front of crowds. Like also in Montreal, when I started, I did 4 years, where it was just horrible open mics in front of other comedians and maybe 3 crackheads. Like I remember
Did you do
literally a guy.
Grumpies?
Oh, Grumpies all the time, buddy.
Dude.
I graduated Grumpies. I'm
Oh,
done.
man.
Grumpies was like, at least there was a crowd. Even if they didn't listen, at least there was a
Oh,
crowd. It's
that's-
known as to be the toughest open
Well,
mic in the
that was the
country.
hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
But I realized quickly that every open mic had a purpose. Some open mics, okay, for example, Grumpies, you have to accept the fact that some people might not listen.
Yeah.
So you have to not lose your cool. This is
Yeah.
where you learn how to not lose your cool. Other shows, you learn like, okay, now that I have their attention, the jokes. Other shows, it's like, okay, it's a big stage, but there's no one, so I have to be
Yeah.
very performative. So I learned that, okay, every room you perform in, you learn something.
Yeah.
So once you learn, like, okay, I'm okay with no one listening to my joke. I'm not gonna go to Grumpy's anymore.
Yeah.
And then there's new open mics that
Yeah,
open micers that go there, and it's perfect.
That's a smart thing to do because I feel that there's like an expiration date to doing that kind of show.
yeah.
I feel that
What am I gonna learn?
I see comics, and this happens a lot in New York, that I met them at the open mic level, and they were like funny.
Yeah.
You're telling like dead baby jokes and like, you know, whatever. They're being like open mic edgy, which
Yeah.
is like.
I stayed. I think I'm pretty sure. Open mic edgy should be the name of my second album. The first one, you know what's it called? Jizz and Juice.
Oh, I like that.
Sipping on jizz and juice.
Those are
laid
names that
back.
would make you listen to it, but also please do not tell my mom I'm listening to this.
That's how it should be.
Um,
So yeah. Anyway. So yeah. There's people.
So there's the people that you know are super funny at the open mic, like they're like making callbacks. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, like Justin was just sucking some bathroom, and everyone's like, ah, and then you put them in front of a crowd,
Yeah.
like an actual show, and it's not the same. That kind of like dark comedy doesn't travel with them
Yeah.
because all of a sudden they have to be in front of people that are out to have a fun time in the city. They pay for a babysitter. They're like genuinely trying to find some relatable material, and then this guy's being like, "So I paid this prostitute to suck my," and you're like,
you can
"Okay."
still get away with it.
100%. But the point is that there's a very specific type of comic that
Yeah.
can get away with that.
Yeah.
And not every comic has
that.
to be that way to
Yeah.
get like a reaction. And I feel that there's too many of those that never graduated the open mic. And then you see them, like I'm at a point in New York where like I get paid to do stand up. I get spots, I get legit spots. And then you see them and you go walk, you're like, hey, what's going on, man? And they're like, ah, man. And it's like, I'm always thinking, what are you doing? Like, this is a business. You need to get better. You need to be good at what you do so you can get, you know, paid.
It's a weird business where drugs and booze is like part of your day to day, and I think it ends up affecting your brain.
Yeah.
It's just failure after failure, and then you add, because there's so much failure. Even if you're succeeding, there's failure. You write a new joke, it doesn't work. And you're like, all right, it's just a joke. That joke is a failure. I'm not. There's a lot of control of your demons.
Yeah.
I find there's so many very talented comedians that don't have that control, and then they just become bitter and
It's easy to lose yourself.
Yeah.
I think stand up. I mean, any sort of like art form where like you have to be out and drinking with people. If you're likely to have a drinking problem, or like if it's in your DNA,
Yeah.
it is very hard not to become an alcoholic, because you see really funny people, very talented people, just getting hammered after like a Wednesday show, and you're like, dude, it's a Wednesday. Like, what are you doing? Like, do you have anything to do at home? Like, what are you gonna do tomorrow? I gotta get on the road at like noon, and you're like, yeah, but don't you have to like be like a human, like live a little bit? That's where like I feel that I learned this from like people like Sugar Sammy, who I've had the chance to open for and like to work with, and he was always like super professional.
Yeah.
Like, treat this as your business. Treat yourself like you're the machine. Like you happen to be. This is a job where like you're the instrument. So if you don't take care of yourself, I mean, I'm not saying don't drink or don't do like you can, but I'm just saying getting blackout drunk every time you headline on a weekend.
What about bagels? How does,
Bagels are fine.
oh.
Bagels are not crack cocaine.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I think that's a problem that, and it's not a problem. Like, I think creative people have, you experiment a lot more with drugs and stuff.
You have
like
demons. I always said what I like about Sugar Sammy is that he's an outlaw. Like on stage, he'll say wild things.
that. Oh yeah, he gets away with some
you
crazy shit.
learn that you can be wild on stage. Off stage, be a professional.
Oh yeah.
On stage, that's my rule. A comedian I book, on stage, if I booked you, I trust you. You're gonna be funny. Off stage, don't do coke.
No,
don't do
dude.
coke in front of other patrons.
Dude, I'll tell you a funny story about Sammy. So I opened for him, I think it was 3 times or twice at Caroline's. No, the first time I hosted, Massimo opened and he headlined.
What a lineup!
Oh, that was one of my best weekends in New York. It was
Yeah.
before COVID. It was right before COVID. It was 2020. Yeah, 2020. Dude, I had so much fun seeing Massimo, hosting for like Massimo and Sammy. Hosting is like stress free for me at the time, because I was like, I just have to do 15, do a couple crowd work jokes, and then bring them up
Get the
back to
energy up.
back and drink and hang out.
Yeah.
So he was super happy with my hosting. He was like, dude, awesome. His girlfriend, who's like super helpful with everything, like recording everything. It's like, oh, I really like your stuff. And I was like, awesome. So next time, this is after COVID, he comes back to New York. This is before Caroline's closed. And he's like, I want you to feature for me.
Ooh.
And I'm like, featuring it's a different animal.
Yeah, it's 25, something like that.
It's 20. And I was like, and then he was like, you ready? And I was like, yeah, man. This is when I was working on my material about like not being able to have a baby, and me going to the doctor's appointment and trying to like I had this whole 5-minute story about me jerking off in the doctor's office. So on Thursday,
Unrelated to making a baby. It's Tuesday night.
I was just doing it for fun, honestly. So I go on Thursday show, which is a little lighter than the rest of the shows. Like, it was packed, but not as packed as the other ones. So I go with feature. I was like, I'm going with all that, energy of like, I'm a New York comic. I don't have to like worry. Like, I'm funny. I ate a bag of in front of Sammy, in front of everybody, and I was like, oh my god, this is my worst nightmare, because like I'm opening for this guy, I'm like featuring, and then, I kind of like I was done, and then like after we went to eat something after the show, and he was like, what was that? Like, you're funny. Like, why did you pick that material? And I was like, oh, because I'm working on this. Like, and he was like, no one cares about that.
Yeah.
People came to see, and he wasn't trying to be like an egocentric asshole, but he was just being like, people came to see my show.
Yeah.
You're featuring. You want to give them a good impression
That's
of
it.
who you are. Do your greatest hits.
Of course.
Do the stuff.
You're getting
that
paid
works.
a lot.
Yes, you're getting paid. Do the shit.
Do
that,
your A game.
and,
Bring your
and,
A game.
And then I was like, okay. So that Thursday night, I come home and I'm like, okay, write down the hit list. I did amazing like the rest of the weekend.
That's
Thank
how it's
God.
done.
Imagine I had bombed. No, I did great. And then after that first Friday show, I did very well. And I'm coming off, and he's like getting ready to, because he's headline, right? So he just looks at me and he goes like, that's the set that's gonna make you money.
Aw.
And then I'll never forget that, because he looked at me and he's like, that's the set.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it. Sometimes because there's like in New York, like, I got to be original, like the authenticity and all this stuff. It's like, no, sometimes like if you want to be able to
You're
make a
still
living,
original. It's you. It's your jokes.
yeah, it's your jokes.
It's your jokes.
And
all of them, the good ones and the bad ones. You
Because
wrote
sometimes,
them.
I don't know if
Bring
this
your A
happens to
game.
you,
Yeah.
but sometimes I used to do this a lot, and I stopped giving a what other comics think
Yeah.
about me. I used to get in my head about like, is this joke hacky, or
Yeah.
is this joke? Am I being a hack? Am I?
Oh,
And
I
it's like,
still have that. Yeah.
I stopped thinking about it that way because it would limit a premise that could be hacky, but I could make into a very unique thing for me.
My thought is every premise is hacky. It depends how you. It depends how you present it and how you. Yes, women like shopping. All right.
Exactly.
What's your? Every premise I've been talked about. George Carlin existed. There's nothing you can do. All right. George Carlin has existed and has talked about everything unknown on this earth. George Carlin has brought it up. All right. So what are you gonna do? Just accept it and then
But
work
you
on
did, you did great. Like that example is like women love shopping.
Yeah.
You could have a really fucking like an amazing joke
Yeah.
about that specific thing, but I was trying to do the thing backwards, where like I gotta tell like this very original story, which it would not relate to the crowd right away, so I would lose them, so I wouldn't have any credit to begin with. And then I just started going like, I'm just gonna go from my funny bone. I'm gonna think about that premise, and I'm gonna be me in the premise, like the way that my
Perfectly said,
brain
yeah.
works, and the way that I would express myself, and like that's where like the whole thing started to make sense to me, which is like I just got to think about it the way that I would think about it, and not the way that other comics want me to think about
I
it.
guess it's different also in New York because there's so many comedians. So here in Montreal, I mean, I see the same 15 comics because I don't do as many open mics. I'm doing like weekends or paid shows mainly. So I'm hanging out with the same 15 people. And sometimes I listen to their material, but no one really listens to anyone's material.
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes let's see what, Oren has this new joke. I'll listen to it. But no, it's between me and the crowd. If I think of something, I'll go on stage and I'll say it.
And that's one thing about you, that you're very committed. Like,
Yeah.
you're one of those comics that's why you're funny, is because you don't hold back on a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like I see comics sometimes kind of like, I'm not gonna commit because they're not with me. You may be like not getting a lot of laughs, and then you're still gonna do that herpes joke or whatever joke.
There's a few.
And I'm like, I appreciate that way more, because there's a commitment to like, I'm gonna do it regardless.
And sometimes I find the right punchlines when I commit. I'm like, when I double down on a crazy premise, this is where I'll find the punchline that gets a laugh. Because in my mind, the crowd wants to laugh. They're just waiting for you to say the thing that will
Yeah.
vomit the laugh out of their mouths. So I'm like, and then it will come out. You have to beat them. That's what. That's the secret to comedy.
That's exactly. That's what I'm talking
Punch
about.
them
You
in the
just-
face.
because I see. Sometimes my feed shows me your stuff, which I love. Whenever I see it, I like and I watch. Like your jokes and your crowd work is very, very New York like. You're like
Yeah?
genuinely
Oh.
like, man, like you talk about some stuff that like. Well, let me think about the one where you put the mic in your mouth and you start going like happy birthday. I'm like, what the hell, dude? It's so funny, and I only know one comic that would do that, and it's you.
Oh, it's my opus dei, or whatever the expression is, magnum
Actually,
opus.
you know what? I've only seen another comic do that, and it's a Mexican comic.
Oh.
She's a drag. Well, he's a drag queen, and he has that energy of like, if I have to put this microphone in my mouth, I'll do it. So I've seen that. And what is the name of this comic? I opened for him in New York. Anyways, but like that kind of like over like I'm gonna just take over the stage and I'm gonna eat this mic in front of your face.
I like to believe the idea of sucking the mic. I didn't invent it. I saw Louis C.K. do it.
Hugo Blanchett, that's the name.
Hugo Blanchett. Okay. Hugo Blanchett sounds like a Quebecois.
Yeah, no.
Hugo Blanchett. No, me it's Louis C.K. He has a joke about sucking a mic,
Yeah.
and I just find that image so funny.
Yeah.
I have. It seems that every new hour that I develop, I need like a couple of minutes on the Jews, and I need to suck the mic at least once. Every album. Why? Because if you listen, Louis C.K. He's both of us. Louis C.K. is one of our heroes. Every album,
Do you think?
he has a
You think?
he has a joke about the Jews. He has every single album he ever made, he has a joke about Jews. So for part of me, I'm like, well, I have to write a joke about Jews. That's the way my brain works.
One of my favorites Louis C.K. moments is I don't remember. I can't remember what the special was, but he's going like, "All right, everybody, I don't know. We're gonna get this show started. I don't know if they told you, no Jews. There's no
Yeah.
like There's no Jews allowed in this.
I think it's live
the
at
show.
the Beacon Theater.
Yeah, and then he's like,
There was
"Sir,
no opener.
Sir, come on, you know,
Yeah.
you gotta go, you gotta go." Like this dude, like
Yeah.
out of like, I'm like, how does he get away with that?
Because it's funny. He established that once people know that you're funny, you can. Dude, I get away with. Sometimes I speak with Sid, and sometimes I feel. I'm tooting my own horn here, but like I get away with so much for some. Everybody has a blessing. I'm not a master of the English language like a lot of comedians are. I don't write finely tuned. I'm funny, but I get away with saying horrible things.
Yeah.
That's everybody has a
That's your
superpower.
style. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my superpower. God has given me that. Amer, you can say anything and people will still like you.
Yeah.
That's my superpower. So and Sid gives me carte blanche to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So that gives me so much freedom, and it helped me write
Have
my
you ever
hour.
had a producer tell you? Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off. Did to tell you like, don't do that joke?
I was not told don't do that joke. At my level, people don't usually tell me don't, but I have been told please don't suck the mic. It's like not for me. Other comedians have complained. Please don't suck the
Oh,
mic.
it's for real? Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Not Sid. Sid is like, hey.
I can see that.
Sid also likes edgy comedy,
Oh,
so he doesn't.
so I didn't mean to derail.
Yeah,
what you
no
were
worries.
saying. Yeah.
So I find now that new comics come and they see me
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, well, I can. If he does that, I can do that." And there's just.
Oh,
God,
man.
And
That-
like,
you were
I'm sorry,
describing-
Sid. I'm ruining your night. Like I could tell. Everyone becomes edgier when I'm on a show.
You know you're starting to become a veteran when you see younger comics do what you do.
I see like people who have learned a bit like how to host, how to do crowd work, how to
It's a compliment, but
yeah. Like I didn't say I invented being gay on stage, but I'm pretty sure I'm the gayest straight comic in the scene, and I feel how that translated
says
to
travel,
other
yeah.
that translate. But it's okay. Listen, it forces me to grow.
But
Yeah.
but it's a compliment, and it's also a testament to the impact you have on the scene. Because it goes for Toronto comic. I've seen this happen with people that come from Toronto. I've seen Dave Mahesh, and I've seen Alex Pavone, and I've seen Nathan McIntosh, and I've seen
These are the pillars of the Toronto comedy scene.
super funny people. They have a style of
Yeah.
very ranty, very like I'm not interested in the mic. I'm just gonna go like, and I'm gonna tell you, and then the hand gestures, and it's a style. I'm not saying they're doing the same, but it's a style that I don't know who
Yeah.
started with, who was a pioneer, but it is a very unique Toronto style that is become so funny that I see other comics
Yeah.
in New York do it.
Wow, in New
And
York.
and I'm like, that is a Toronto style. Right
Whoa, you can spot like, oh, this is a.
there. Yeah, they're doing Nathan right now. I could see when a comedian is doing Nathan. I was like, he's doing Nathan, or he's doing, Alex or whatever. It is a very unique form
Wow.
of doing your thing on set. Like same like people do Shane Gillis,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I
Oh my God, I see it
like
so
they,
much
They
now.
go just go in this and the hand and
This
go. Dude, I'm telling you, and it's
And Theo
because-
Vaughn, and among the youth, I see a lot of Theo Vaughn because he's like, he still speaks to the Gen Zs.
yes.
So I see a lot of, I can't watch Louis anymore. Like
I love watching him.
I love. Sometimes I'll do the road. Okay, I don't know if you do this. Here's what I do. Sometimes like I'll do the road. Let's say I went alone, and then on the way back I'm in my car for like 2 hours. I'll just put like a Louis album. So I'll just listen to Louis. Let's say I headline, and then I'll listen to Louis headlining
Yeah.
on the way back, and I'll just, okay, where did I fall? Because I like his rhythm.
Yeah.
His talk is back and forth. I still, because I don't want to listen to it before I go, because then I'm
Because
gonna copy him.
you're gonna sound like
Yeah.
him without even knowing.
I'm
yeah.
naturally way more energetic than him.
Yeah.
So I want to be myself. Because sometimes you catch yourself being like your idol.
Oh, definitely. There is
And you're like,
every now and again you're like,
yes, like, I don't wanna,
comedy, and then he's like,
Yeah.
I did Mark Norman
Yeah,
right there.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
people, and it's because if you watch someone too much,
Of course,
You-
you
you mimic them without
you
knowing.
idolize them. Of course, yeah.
I used to watch and listen to a lot of Gary Goldman's stuff. Especially my favorite comedy special he did was In This Economy,
Yeah.
which is on Netflix, and it still holds up. It's great. And he did. He used to hold his mic really close.
Yeah.
here. Like
Yeah.
you have it like this. He'd be talking. He'd be very like
Yeah.
the way he speaks is so great.
That's his superpower. The mastery of the English
Master of English. He's just like being.
So
and then
smooth.
I started doing that.
language. Yeah, but that's okay.
I know, but I'm like, oh, I'm doing Gary.
Oh, you found yourself not just holding the mic like him, but also.
No, but I was trying to mimic his, and I'm like, I'm not him.
Yeah.
Like he's too, but it's like at the very beginning when you don't know your style,
Yeah.
when you don't know,
Of course.
what kind of comic you are, and then you find your voice, and then you're like, oh no, this is how I sound. Like
Yeah.
I could guarantee you, like you can pick any of my jokes today, and it's a very unique style.
Really?
Yes.
I can't say that. I would say like okay, personally every one of my jokes, I could see. Okay, here he's himself. Where did he learn about shitting on himself? From Louis C.K. He's talking about his body. Where did he learn this? Like I could tell. Not kind of. It's mine, of course. I wrote that joke, but the subject matter,
Yeah.
like the things that I find funny, is by watching stand-up comedy. Like
Who would you say is the biggest influence on your voice, like who you are on stage?
Louis
Yeah.
and Sugar Sammy are the two biggest.
I was gonna say the same thing. For me, watching Sammy being like the mega, like he's like Montreal, like the one Montreal comic that, if you want to see an example of success
Yeah.
in show business,
Yeah.
he's it.
Yeah.
And seeing his confidence on stage, owning that like French English sort of like thing
His
that he
crowd
does.
work is
His crowd work's amazing. I
so
feel
unique and fun. Not just funny, unique.
I feel I'm not doing the same. I'm doing my style of crowd work, but I'm doing a lot of bilingual
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah.
And I found a rhythm and a thing that works for me, inspired by what Sammy did with the Quebec French, Quebec.
Yeah, because people who don't know, you perform in Spanish
Yes.
and in English.
Yes.
Which is
And-
that's
and-
how is
and-
that?
And it's changed my entire outlook on
Yeah.
comedy, because I get more work. One, the comedy scene in Spanish has grown exponentially in the United States. It pays good, and if you find your audience, your niche, like my niche is bilingual immigrants or bilingual people that
Yeah.
can go back and forth, and the market of bilingual Spanish and English is so big that what I'm trying to do is trying to bridge that sort of.
It's amazing.
It's kind of like it's exactly what Sammy was doing with like the Quebec, because there's a lot of first generation, second generation Quebecers, well not Quebecers, immigrants that grew up in Quebec that are totally bilingual,
Yeah.
French and English. That's exactly the same thing in the United States across all states.
It's a good market, and I'm happy you have Sammy to learn from.
Yeah, he was like honestly
Because you're blowing up. Like you just headlined in Ottawa, right?
sold out Ottawa.
Sold. That's insane. Congrats, buddy.
Thank you, bro.
Mazel tov.
In every show that I've I only picked 10 shows because I have a baby now, but like every
Gay.
show that I've done, like it's selling pretty good. I don't want to jinx it. That's why I don't post when I sell it. I don't post anything. I just don't want to jinx it. I
You
just wanna-
don't?
I-
Oh man, I posted and I asked my mom to do a
No,
prayer to push
'cause
the
I don't
evil
wanna-
away.
I have like a weird thing. It's like I just wanted the money to come in. Like I need the money. I don't care about like people thinking that I'm doing
I thought
great.
it would it just keeps the ball rolling.
Maybe
Social
it does,
media.
but for me it's just like I do the show and
Yeah.
then I move on to the next show and I want to sell the next show, and like Ottawa for instance, like I just headlined Yucks in Ottawa this Saturday, and the first show was Tom Green, who's
Wow,
like
yeah.
comedy royalty in Canada. His show obviously sold out.
Yeah.
And then I was doing Howard got me to do an early show somewhere in Orleans, and then
Yeah?
I had to drive fast
Did you do it in English or in?
in English. Okay, this
yeah.
is predominantly white people.
Yeah, I did it before. Yeah, in the
Yeah.
Carlton Place. No, Orleans. No.
Tap
Orleans
room.
is his new. Is his new.
Yeah, the
is his
tap
new
room
house, yeah.
place, yeah. And then I was like, okay, then show started like 8:30, and I'm like, dude, I'm headlining. I got to
Yeah.
be there at like 10:15.
Yeah.
I go, and Howard's like super happy. He's like, yeah, it's packed, sold out. Like, it's good.
Nice. Yeah.
And I go in, and I'm like, okay, this is my people, this is my audience.
Yeah.
I didn't pick the comics that were opening for
Yeah.
me. And I knew, I told everybody it's a bilingual show.
Who opened for you?
Some local comics.
Okay.
Fabricio's or I mean, I'm forgetting the
Fabricio,
name.
yeah, Lorenz, I met him before. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy. I forget their name. It's a trans comic, trans woman.
Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They brought me up.
Yeah.
I'm using they because I don't know their pronouns.
Look at you.
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be a better
Wow.
person.
Yeah.
And
Ego Blanche. here.
yeah, he doesn't give a. He's like he says the N word.
So does
No, I'm
no.
kidding. I don't know because he's in Spanish doesn't have the same effect. The trans comic. Oh my god, I was blown away. Like funny,
Yeah, it's
funny,
very funny. Yeah.
and they forgot my name, or like they forgot my last name, bringing me up, and I'm like, this is my show, like. So I'm like, what are you doing? Like, they didn't ask me for my credits, didn't ask for anything. I was just like, hey, we're headliner tonight. You guys came all the way from like to see him, blah blah blah. Santi, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's Espinoza. Don't worry about it. Like, I'll look it up. And I went up, dude. It's exciting to be in. I hadn't been in Ottawa since 2011.
Yeah.
Well, Yucks 2011. I did go to Absolute at some point in 2017, and I regret doing that. But I went to Yucks in 2011 for a comedy competition, and I bombed horribly. It was one of my first 6 months in comedy, and anyways. But I go in there, sold
Now
out
you're
show,
headlining your own sold
and
out
Howard's
show.
like watching me. I wasn't even thinking. I did like an hour and 10 minutes, and I don't want to say like, but I did murder. Like I murdered to like.
I'm a big high fiver today.
Because it's my audience. You get a lot more leeway when it's your audience. You get a lot more bandwidth. And so I did my thing. I pack my. I go, say thank you to the fans, and they leave. Howard has to go because it's like midnight, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like I'll call you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. He calls me up the next day. Literally calls me up, and he's like, I was blown away, man. Whenever you want to come back, you want to do the whole weekend.
Nice.
You got it. And I was like, dude, this was such a personal win for me because. It doesn't mean anything in the big scheme of things. Like, you're headlining the whole weekend in Ottawa, whatever. But for me, as a Canadian or like a person that started in Canada, that was the whole thing when I first started. It's like, I'd love to do a weekend in Ottawa. Yeah. But in order to understand what it takes to get to that level or to get to that place is like, I had to pack the room on a Saturday at 10 p.m. I had to be legitimately funny in front of the manager so that he could see that like, oh, this is actually legit. To make like my delusional brain when I first started was like, I'm gonna get here like 2 years from now. It's like,
no, it took 10.
There's no
12
way.
Years. Yeah.
I mean, you could if you're like a gifted comic, but if he told me at the time that it was gonna take me 13 years to make it back to Ottawa and do that, I would have been like, no, I'm not doing this.
I quit.
Yeah, I'm not doing this. But it's a journey. It's a whole process. And now, like, whenever I'm going to places, like, now they treat me with respect, which I didn't have before. Like, Yuck Yucks Ottawa replies to my emails right away, and I'm like, you guys weren't doing that before.
Can we give props to Yuck Yucks Ottawa? Howard Wagman is one of my favorite people.
Such a nice person.
I have been blessed by meeting Sid and meeting Howard.
Howard's amazing.
People have changed my life. Howard is the first one. Like, he didn't know who I am. I didn't grow up with him. I showcased one day. I did very well. He's like, all right. And he started giving me spots and, just made that whole team, man, makes me feel so much at home.
Yeah. Howard's is a legit good dude. He knows comedy.
He's been doing it he's been the owner of Yuck Yucks Ottawa for 30-something years.
For a long time.
He's the one who discovered Norm Macdonald.
Yep.
Tom Green.
Tom Green, yeah. Like, that's why Tom Green is loyal to Yuck Yucks. He doesn't have to do Yuck Yucks Ottawa.
Dude,
Tom Green is the most famous comedian in Canada.
Derek Seguin. You know Derek Seguin?
Yeah.
Does theaters everywhere. I hosted for him when he came to Ottawa. He did like 5 shows. 5 shows is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's tiring. To do 5 hours in like 3 days.
Yeah.
He could have done a theater or 2 theaters.
Make more money.
Made more money. But he's so comfortable working with Yuck Yucks. He's like, no, I'm just going to do 5 shows. Okay, it's going to be more tiring, but I'll get to be in a club, in a nice club, in a club, low ceiling.
Yeah.
Everybody
that new
knows
place is great because I
I
went to
haven't
the
been
old.
to the
No,
place.
I mean I remember the Ottawa, the Yuck Yucks Ottawa that was next to the Absolute, which I thought it was bizarre.
Yeah.
Competition facing each.
Yeah.
I was like, how does this make sense?
Yeah.
And at the time, Absolute was kicking their ass. I think
it's a good room too. Absolute's a good room too. I've done it as an open micer. I always felt like a headliner.
Oh man, I did that.
That room
Did you call on Tuesdays at 10
Oh, yeah, I
a.m.
used
like
to call
like, wait for that? Yeah.
Like a soldier. I never missed a Wednesday. I think Was it anyways, the first
I think
Tuesday
it was when I
of
did
the
it. It
month,
was the
yeah.
first Tuesday of the month.
I used to every time when you had to call, I was calling like a never skipped. And then they switched to emails. And when they switched to emails,
Oh,
this is
forget
where like, oh, he's my friend, so I'm gonna give him spots. And then I stopped getting spots right away. I'm like,
Yeah, of
all
course.
right.
That's when you lose. Absolutely. I
Because
mean,
phone calls, someone had to pick up.
yeah, and it was more earnest. Like you deserved the spot because you were like
Yeah.
it would be busy, busy.
30
and then
minutes,
it's
guys.
30
People don't know this, but this is how you got spot. You had to call a number in the morning at 10 a.m. and then every single comic in in a 300-kilometer radius
Everyone
would
in
call
Quebec
to
and
get a spot.
Ontario.
Exactly. So you would call every. It would take maybe 20, 30 minutes of busy dial,
start
busy
at
dial. Till you got a spot.
9:55,
Yes.
and then all the way to 10:30. And
Yeah.
sometimes you didn't get.
And then sometimes you didn't get, but you had to call. Dude, I used to call. I would get a spot in Ottawa, and then I would get a spot in Kingston, and they used to pay me $10 to go to. It was like a 2.5-hour drive. I would go there, do
Was
7
Kingston
minutes.
just as good?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was
Really?
they really make good rooms. So I would go. I would kill for 7 minutes. I would get $10, and then I would drive back to Montreal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, I did the same thing. Like, I drove to Ottawa many
Oh.
times. Took the train, took the bus.
Man,
Because that was the only. This is how Montreal comedy scene was at the time. That to feel like a real comic, you had to go to Ottawa on a Wednesday,
Yeah.
spend money to feel like you were doing something.
To perform in front of an actual crowd in
Yeah.
a real club, and you could just and you felt so good.
Oh
My
man,
God.
that audience was always hot. That
They-
audience was always
yeah.
hot. Like I didn't know how they. Like I remember my first tape ever was like a 5-minute or 7-minute, whatever many times. I think it was 7 minutes. At because you couldn't blow that light because Jason would like annihilate you or whoever
There's
was
a shotgun in
whatever
the back.
whoever
Yeah,
was
yeah.
reporting to Jason and be like, you run that light, you're done. I taped that set and I was so proud of that set.
Yeah,
So proud of that set. I put it on Facebook
yeah.
because I didn't know the etiquette at the time. At the time, you were not supposed to post shit on Facebook, just so you know, or on social media.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
at the time, it was kind of like, that's your material, you don't do it.
Yeah, because
And you don't wanna
you don't
burn
want to
me-
write new jokes.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to burn this stuff. And I posted. I didn't care. I created like my own Facebook group. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna like very, very just amateur stuff. But then the veteran comics at the time. In this case, I remember the comic Jeff Shuela, who I appreciate. I don't know where Jeff is today. I mean, he gave me a lot of opportunities
Yeah.
when I first started here. But at the time he messaged me, he was like, "No, dude, you can't be posting that stuff. No, get that off. Right, just get it off. Just." But no, you can't have your material out. Like, it's too green. You don't want to burn it. And I was like, I panicked. I was like, oh. So I took it down, and I was like, I almost had like a mental breakdown. It's so funny that was the reaction back then. And now, like, you see people that have been doing comedy for half a minute, and they already have an hour.
6
They're like, on
videos.
tour. And you're like, on tour? The f*** you've been
Yeah, they're
comedy
doing
for 6
open
months.
mics across the country.
I've been catch me in like in whatever Nashville blah, 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 doing like 7 shows and you're like, what? It's the degree of difficulty to be a headliner
Yeah.
has been completely just diluted
Really, you find?
because of people. You don't know who's a real headliner until you actually see them.
Yeah.
Because social media could be very misleading. You can see
Oh,
a
yeah, well,
person
that's- yeah.
with like a ton of
Yeah,
followers, and
yeah,
then you
yeah.
see them live, and you're like, "This is dog shit."
Yeah, 100%. However, I find that being a headliner, I don't know if it's because, no, I don't know if I agree that now if you have a lot of followers, you're a headliner. I'll give you that. If
Well,
you have a
can
lot of
sell a
followers,
room.
you can sell a room, then yeah, you're technically a headliner. However, to be a headliner, you still have to have like 45 minutes of material. It's
And
not easy.
The definition of headliner to me
Yeah.
is someone that when you see them perform
Yeah.
a 45-minute set, you feel that it was a 5-minute set.
Yes, of course.
It's like I'm talking about people that
yeah, so
may
it's
not
still
have.
hard to be a headliner.
Oh no, being a headliner to me was like the guy or the person that was like legit. Like
It's learning how to use a mic and a mic stand. It's part of being.
Gloria, stop moving the mic.
So we got staff now.
Come on.
Sexy Gloria.
And
We had to hire a buxom
me, the
Latina
headliner-
because Forsenti, it's part of his contract. He's a headliner.
Dude, I the name Gloria, just so you guys know, is
Yeah?
because that was a Puerto Rican lady that was always collecting my semen sample when I was doing my my fertility. You don't have to know this.
Just
But
go
when
watch him live. You'll
Yeah,
love it.
when then her name was Gloria because she introduced herself, and I was like, I did not want to know that. I don't want to know your name. I never want to see you again. You're the lady that collected my semen forever. So.
Señor, le semen?
No, you'd be like, Señor Ruben? And I'm like, I don't want to see you ever
Salud.
again. I really hope that you move out of the country. She was Puerto Rican, so she couldn't get deported. But
Oh.
you know what I'm saying? That's a bad joke.
That's a good joke.
It's a good joke. It's a dark joke. Maybe we'll be like, oh my God. The point is that a headliner is someone that you see on stage and you don't see them like struggling to make a like you can have a bad set, but you see a headliner having a bad set and it doesn't feel as painful as like someone that's doing a packed show with 20 minutes. That's something that I learned from like real veteran comics like we watched in Montreal and in New York that you're like, these are legit headliners. So sometimes you see people that are super funny, headliner caliber, but they don't have the following that some influencer has, and they're not making the same amount of money because, you know, there is like the industry has kind of like shifted in a way, which is like the interest of people, the way that people consume content has changed from before. That's just how it is. Like people sometimes just want to relate to someone that is talking on the camera being like, blah, 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 and I want to see them live. Yeah. Very different from a professional comic.
I agree. No. Okay, we're saying the same thing. We're both saying that being a headliner is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
But I see what you mean in the sense like speaking in front of a crowd as the headliner is now easier if you have a following, if you know how to work your magic on the social media.
Yeah.
I find now that I'm headlining, I feel like an open mic headliner. Because I find
there's levels. There's levels.
They're
for sure.
doing 45 minutes as a headliner, an hour, between 45 and an hour. Usually that's what I'm doing, between 45 and an hour. I'm like, oh, I'm still new to this. I do it maybe 4 times a month. I do 4 headlining gigs.
That's good. That's very good.
It's so much work to do it. Even that, I'm one of the only few in the city who do that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, every time I'm like, okay, this is new.
And what you're doing, which is very important, is that you're putting yourself out there and you're doing it yourself.
Oh, I have to.
Because you got to bet on yourself.
There's no, how can I say this? Like, I'm going to cities, there's no comedy clubs. So I'm like, well, I'm still going to go to that city.
Yeah.
No, you have to. I think once you start believing in yourself, then other people will start believing in you.
Yes, because you got to.
Yeah.
If you don't bet, how do you expect other people to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? Like that's just
101
of like.
I am proud of the product that I'm selling on. Like whoever comes to see me on the road or Montreal, you're getting a good return on your investment. You paid $15-20 for a ticket.
Yeah.
You're getting way more than that.
And you can get this awesome merch.
If you want to buy a mug, look at this. Huh?
How much you charge for this?
$20.
That's awesome.
It's pretty good.
Value.
For a mug, it's pretty nice. It's a good price for a mug.
Good quality. It's coming from a Colombian. I totally drink Colombian coffee out of this.
Please take a photo and post it. Like, ooh.
I will definitely.
If you don't mind.
Look at this. Colombian vouched. Yeah, I mean, there's levels to headlining for sure because like it takes a while to be confident doing longer sets, not just like 15 minutes, but like 20, 30. I just started doing an hour like last year, like legit like an hour.
Yeah.
And I feel that a lot of it has to do with, this is where I think, like if it's my audience, if it's people that came to see me that I know pay tickets to see me, I can get away with a lot more than if it's a random show, like the Orleans show before the headlining show in Ottawa.
Yeah.
That show I was only doing 30, but it had to be a tight 30. And I knew it. They were not giving me any extra credit. Joke, laugh, joke, laugh, joke, laugh. Whereas when you're doing a show in front of your people, then you go, hey, what's up? Look at this weirdo in the front row. Blah. And then you're like, okay, well then my jokes are going to be fine here.
It's funny the way you feel about performing in front of your people, because I don't have my people yet.
Yeah.
I'm getting my people as I'm doing shows. If it's my show, if no one hired me, like I produced it, I packed it, I rented the room, blah blah blah, I'm so free. The sense of freedom that I have,
awesome.
I'm not like, let's say I don't do well and it hasn't happened yet, I'm not disappointing anybody.
Yeah.
This I care about like work. I care about my work.
No one's going home heartbroken. It's fine.
Yeah, like I care about my work. Let's say I'm doing a show for Howard, and if I don't do well, I'll feel bad.
Yes.
I'm like, it's his name. If I'm doing
because he hired you.
Because he hired me. I'm an employee.
Yeah.
I'm a contractor. He hired me. Like this is your I mean, he's my client.
Yeah.
If I'm doing if I organize, I'm my own client. So I'm doing this for me. I just have the audience. I have to make them happy. There's a sense of freedom that comes with it that is my favorite thing.
Totally,
Right
yeah.
now, as a growing headliner, my favorite thing is the freedom of I can do what it's my people. I can do whatever I want. I'm addicted to that free. I want more of that freedom.
You're owner. Like
Yeah,
you produce the show, you put it all together.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives you a sense of agency. Where
Yeah.
like, hey man, you didn't like that joke, whatever, man. What are you gonna do?
But here's the thing. I do well. Once I have that sense of freedom, I'm so free that I don't censor my brain at all.
Yeah.
So, and usually I find that the least I censor myself, the funnier I am. The freer I am, the funnier I am.
Yeah.
So this freedom just gives me it's extra flame up my ass, and it's just.
Also, you
Oh,
should
so
feel
good.
very proud of yourself for putting it together. Like, how many comics are doing that? How many comics? Because what you hear a lot of comedians doing, this is something that kind of bothers me now, is they sit in the back of the room or they hang out with their friends and they complain about other comics' success.
Yeah.
And they're jaded about like, look at this hack. Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah.
And then you see that they're not really doing anything to improve their comedy careers.
I don't care about these people.
But that's what I'm saying is like that is the difference between the guy in the back of the room being jaded and complaining and the dude that is going out there losing money when you're producing the show, losing money but then you make some money here, you make some money. That is the biggest difference of why you're going to be it's just basic math. You're going to be ahead in a couple years' time compared to those people that were just like, well, I'm just going to complain here about my stage time.
I always say if you're going to fail up. You know what I mean? In the sense that why fail doing the same thing when you can fail doing something bigger?
Yeah.
It's not that no one's going to die. It's not war. I'm just okay, I won't pack a room. But at least I'll try to pack a room.
Yeah.
Fail something bigger.
Yeah.
That's the feeling of failure is going to be the same whether you're doing the same thing over and over again or doing something new. You're going to feel like you failed.
Yeah.
But at least you tried something new. You failed doing something above what you failed being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I prefer right now and where I am in my life, I prefer to be uncomfortable if I fail than to fail in a comfortable environment. Does that make sense?
Totally understand.
Sometimes I worry a lot of comedians I see, not a lot, but there's a few that are just so talented and they just middle. I'm like, what, you want to be a professional middler?
It's
That's all you want to do?
man. If you get to a point where you're funny and you get paid and you middle and you don't have to do a lot of the heavy stuff, the heavy lifting, and you're just comfortable doing that, it's easier to be complacent and to just like settle for that.
Yeah.
Not everybody
for
has
me,
the same drive.
Because my dream was not to be a middler. My dream was to be a headliner.
Yes.
And the second I identified, I'm like a person who came out, like this is my new gender. My pronouns are headliner. Like once I decided, like that's it, I'm a headliner. I swear, I'm like okay, now I have to assume my gender. I have to headliner. They do their own shows. They do their roads. Once I believed in my product, I'm like okay, I have an hour.
Yeah.
I can entertain people for 1 hour for $20 a ticket, no problem, no issue. Once I accepted my identity, I'm like, all right, let's go be a mediocre, learn everything. Every time I go on stage, I learn something, and now I'm pretty good now. Like,
which was your city that you like headlining the most?
Which one of my cities I liked? Honestly, they're all fun. I really enjoyed Peterborough.
Okay.
Peterborough everything was perfect. It was a back room. It was an actual stage. It was like a black box theater. The lighting, we set it up perfectly. The audio was perfect. I took care of everything. I'm a control freak. I want everything to be. I had like the music. I want to control what music is playing. I want to control how the people are seated. I want to control how the lights are.
I see.
I like to create the perfect. I'm like a director. I want to perfect the perfect environment. Even the height of the stage. Like I have an idea which one is better.
I see you.
Yeah. So everything was set up exactly how I wanted. And once
Did you
bananas.
like now was that how many times did you do that city?
Once.
Just once? Okay.
I did it once. I did it once a few months ago. And then once I have my new hour, I'm going to come back and do it again.
That's awesome. And that's the thing that you're building a circuit.
Yeah.
Because you're starting to you're opening the gate.
That's the whole goal, yeah.
To go back again.
Yeah.
And if comedians friends of yours that are smart. It's like, hey man, Amer already has
I always every comedian
the circuit.
come see me. Go.
Get
That's
the
how I
contacts from Amer.
How do you think I learned that? Every show I done is another comic has done that room, and like, hey, how was that room? And like, oh, it was good, and then I would do it. Some rooms were not great.
Yeah.
Like the seating was not the best, and then that's another
See,
thing I learned.
that's a
is
gamble
adapting.
with those things is that you
Yeah.
may end up in a place where like it's this is not comedy friendly,
But
and you just got to do it.
the beauty of comedy is that if the people are laughing, if someone is happy and they're laughing, they forget about everything. They forget about the noise. They forget about the lighting. They forget about something. If people are laughing, because the product is laughter.
Yeah.
So yes, of course, if everything is perfect, then everything's gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
But if something is not perfect, well, you gotta learn. I'm not a theater comedian yet, so I gotta learn to adapt. This is all
yeah.
I could do now. I have to adapt. I have to. I thought about it not too long ago. It was like, it's always like you have to do the best with what you had, what you have. Because for some reason in my mind, I don't know why, I always thought like, oh, I have to be in shape to succeed in show business.
I got to be mad rife.
I gotta be mad rife. I'm working on the hair plugs. No, I have to. Like it's important.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yes, of course, yeah, it helps. But do the best with what you have, and just keep doing that till you get to a certain point where like, yeah, okay, I've lost weight. I look good. Photogenic. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So right now at my weight, I have a lot of fat jokes because I'm doing the best with what I have. If you're doing the best with what you have, people will enjoy it. Plus, you're evolved, and then you'll write
But
new
here's the
jokes.
question: are you trying to be fat on purpose, or you just like
No, I just love bagels. Love bagels. Bagels are my life. Dude, bagels are so
Montreal
good.
bagels are way
So good.
way better than the whole debate of Montreal and New York bagels
Get
is
the hell
so
outta here.
stupid because, and I'm a proud New Yorker, but I'm telling you, dude, New York bagels are just.
They're garbage.
I wouldn't say they're garbage.
Our Jews make better bagels than your
That
Jews.
is 100% true.
That's your fault. You guys started hiring Mexicans and
The
Puerto
quality
Ricans in the
was
kitchen.
lost.
We hire Indians and Fairmont bagels, and look at the quality we have.
It's authentic.
right.
You know, Simone has a pretty Simone Fecto.
Yeah.
It's a very funny bagel joke. It just reminded me of that.
We're
It's
not
just
gonna do
really-
this joke, but it's a pretty good joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
We have
So
the best.
I'm
bagels
not
in
doing it.
Montreal.
I'm not Jewish. I don't want to make it to.
However, I'll say this: my bagels that I eat in Montreal, I make the bagel.
You make the bagel?
Like, no,
from
in the
scratch?
sense, like I'll cut it and
Oh,
I'll put
okay,
my
okay.
cream cheese.
Got it.
In New York, every bagel I had in New York, they
It's
put like
been-
it's already.
Dude, it's just too much. I
You
can
put a
only
lot
half.
of cream cheese. You eat half?
I only.
What are you, a quitter?
Because it's too much,
No,
dude. It's too much.
it's still good. Like you guys put as much. There's literally as much the schmear, as you guys call it.
Yeah,
The schmear is as much as the bagel.
I could
Which
eat.
is I don't have a problem
I
with
could
this.
eat a bagel with cream cheese, a New York bagel with cream cheese in New York for breakfast, and I'm good for the day.
What?
It's too much, dude.
Really?
I burp that for the whole day.
Oh, I like that. I
Montreal
don't mind the
bagels.
burp.
I love Montreal bagels. I
They're
really
so
do.
good.
I think.
What's your
they're-
favorite Montreal bagel?
I like the Jewish one. No, I'm kidding. I like the one that they sell. The one the what's the name of that? Okay, wait. I know the name. Why is it? why-
I'll describe it and I'll tell you.
No, it's coming from the machine and they're dropping. They're fresh. Why am I blanking on the name?
The machine?
Well, you see the bagels fresh, made from like the actual bagel thing.
Is it?
God damn it!
Do you
why-
remember which street it's on?
Well, there's the one on Cut the Nash.
Okay, I never had the one I could.
And
I only
then-
go to one place or two.
There's the one on St. on St. Catherine
St. Catherine?
and St.
Where are
Matthew.
you eating your bagels?
No, but wait.
What is Tim Hortons?
No. Fucking
There's
A.
Saint Viateur, and there's and my favorite.
San Viator is the one that I was saying, but that's the
Okay,
one that you
on
buy
San-
at the Metro. I'm
by
thinking
the
about
Metro.
Well, you buy San Viator bagels at
Well,
the Metro or the Provigo.
They're both close to my house. The Saint Viateur bagel shop is by my house,
Why am I blank?
and there's Fairmont, which is my favorite bagel. Of all,
Fairmont.
it's my favorite bagel of all time.
Yes.
If you're in Montreal, this is the second podcast where I talk for 10 minutes about bagels. This is how much I love bagels. They're so good.
I love bagels not as much as you do. I have the brand of Montreal bagel. I
So
mean,
good.
is just a thin, like not too thick, and you have to cut them when they're fresh
Yeah.
because otherwise they get too.
No, they don't.
They do get hard,
Buddy.
How
Don't you insult my bagel.
If you wait
I
for
will
a couple
fight you.
days, it'll get hard.
Listen, I like my cat, all right?
Like my dick. No, dude. If you don't put if
Yeah.
you don't cut those bagels like within the first 2
Buddy,
days,
you freeze them.
And then, well, yeah, but after you cut them, though. You can't freeze them before you cut them.
I don't. I take the bag of bagels, I put it in the freezer. Let's say I don't eat the 6
Without
bagels
cutting them.
without cutting. The times. Listen. Okay. There's 2 types of. Okay. Let's relax. Okay. I'm getting too excited. If I buy them fresh, if I buy my bagels fresh, what happens is that I'll eat a couple in the car on the way there. While I'm driving, I'll dip an arm because they're fresh and they're hot, and then you get home. Let's say I buy the bag because sometimes I don't have time to go to Fairmont, so I'll buy like a bag of Saint Viateur from any grocery store.
Whatever Provigo, yeah.
I just put it in the freezer. And then you take the bagel out of the freezer.
Yeah.
And then you just toast it. Put it in the toaster oven. That's it.
Yeah, but it's going to be a...
And then as it gets toasty, you chop it. If you want to toast on the inside, you open it.
When you have a professional, you're not chopping with a knife.
Of course I'm chopping with a knife.
Okay, but, so you toast it and then you cut it after.
Yeah, and then I cut it. And then I want to toast on the inside. Then I'll toast it on the inside. But I don't feel sometimes I just don't want to toast it on the inside.
Fascinating. I have to cut them before so I can toast them like...
Put them in the toaster. You put in a toaster.
Yeah.
I don't have a toaster. I have a toaster oven, which allows me to just throw it in there.
Okay, I learned something new today.
Yeah. Some bagels. Here's the thing with bagels. Everything bagel, which is the best bagel in my opinion.
Everything bagel is the best one.
You can't toast them because once you toast them, the onion or the garlic gets bitter. It kind of affects the taste.
It has to eat fresh.
So and the perfect bagel, in my opinion, is an everything bagel from Fairmount, eaten at 2 a.m. when it's made fresh.
Yeah.
Eaten outside. You buy the cream cheese and they give you a plastic knife. You put the cream cheese on the bagel.
That's good.
You slap some smoked salmon on that baby, some capers, squeeze a lemon. Allahu Akbar.
I could see why you're...
Eat that bagel and don't convert to Judaism, bro.
I can see why you're gaining weight. No, dude, bagels, yeah. Dude, amen. Yes. You know your bagels. I'm not a bagel, like I eat bagels when I have them. Yeah. But I'm not like, I'm going to go get bagels too. Like, no, I'm like, if they're in the fridge, I'll do them.
Here's how much I love bagels. Every time I come back home, I have to tell myself, don't buy bagels. Does that make sense? Every time I'm going up du Parc, I have to go, don't turn on Fairmont. Just keep going straight.
I understand.
Just shh.
Dude.
I have to shh.
You know what my weakness is for like eating?
What weakness?
I'm getting a little weight.
Get out of here.
Poutine.
Poutine?
Oh, fuck. When I'm in Montreal, I have to eat like 5 times a week.
Okay.
There's no nutritional value in poutine.
Give me your 5 poutines in Montreal.
Oh, man. La Belle Pro is like...
La Belle Provence. It's classic. Yes, I agree.
Number 1. I like Saint Hubert poutine is really good.
Saint Hubert poutine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like it. What is the place that has all kinds of poutines?
La Banquise?
La Banquise.
La Banquise. Honestly, people say, "Oh, it's so touristy." It's a fantastic poutine, and you can go
yourself. Banquise has really good poutine, and like if you want to be risky and like test like a weird turkey poutine, you can do it there. I wouldn't do it. I would just keep it tradish.
Can I give you a poutine recommendation?
Yes.
In my opinion, the best poutine in Montreal. It has been the best poutine for 30 years. No one talks about it because it's so far. Paulo et Suzanne.
Where is that?
Somewhere in like Ville Saint Laurent. Paulo et Suzanne has the best poutine in Montreal.
All right.
I used to love Chez Claudette. Chez Claudette,
yeah.
They make it more peppery. Just doesn't speak to me as much. I tried it. I'm like, La Banquise, you can't go wrong.
It's just a good, like, it's a sit-down place for a poutine. Like
it's a factory of poutines.
I love it.
You'll never have a bad poutine there.
And every time I come home to Montreal, like, I feel that I don't know what it is. I have to have poutine, even if I'm on a diet or like I'm like I don't like I need give me an apple, but then I'll have to have the poutine.
Santi, can I be honest with you right now? I don't know what's happening to me, but as I grow older, my love for French fries has diminished.
No way.
And I just like I'll have a burger and I'll order French fries, and I'll have a few, and I'm like, oh, I don't know why. They say your taste buds change as you grow older. It's bringing me sadness.
Interesting.
It's bringing me sadness.
I'm not there yet.
My girlfriend has, because she loves poutine. That's her thing. It's poutine.
Yeah.
And she sees me. I'm like, and she's like, what? Who are you?
Interesting. So is it you don't like it as much anymore?
It's just fries.
With gravy, is the gravy?
Yeah, the gravy.
The gravy makes those
the
like
poutine.
I always soften those fries, the cheese, and this.
My secret: I always order extra gravy. You can't go wrong with it. Just
Extra
a
gravy.
half a scoop
You-
extra.
Smart man. Smart
Extra
man.
gravy.
Hey, fun fact. Deli Planet, which is where
Yeah.
Sid and Ali do a lot of shows. I thought I was gonna hate the poutine there because
Yeah.
they don't have cheese curds. They
Yeah.
do it with
Really?
a different kind of cheese.
Okay.
I think it's mozzarella cheese.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the is it?
Yeah.
I tried it.
Really?
This is how much I love poutine. I did not hate it.
Oh.
And every time I go, I have to
they make a
have
good
it.
chicken salad. That's what when I order food.
Chicken salad?
Because usually I eat for free. But let's say I'm feeling
Yes.
glutton. I want to order more food.
Yeah.
Chicken salad. It's pretty good.
Chicken
You want to
salad.
eat a good pizza? Can I give you a recommendation?
Yeah.
Melrose. Have you done Melrose yet?
Melrose, I did it. Yes, Melrose is a place where they had to have the fan on because it
Yes.
was so hot.
Yeah. Melrose. There's comedy shows there pretty much like Wednesdays and Fridays and Saturdays. Their pizza and their steak sub. Bro.
Quality?
Bro.
All right.
Listen, if you're like, pizza, just try their pizza. I always just get just a regular cheese pizza. Oh, but in my opinion, Alessandro, he's a chef. He's my friend. His steak sub, bro, get the steak sub. They have like those thin fries. They're very good.
Yeah.
But their salad, they have like this tiny little pepper that they add. His salads are so delicious.
I
It's-
try it.
Next
Is it
time
always is it always that hot though? Is it?
no, no,
okay.
it's summer, so it's hot.
No, I'm just saying because like when I went,
Yeah,
I went twice and they had fans. Like
yeah. Just keep
fans,
the air
there's
circulating.
no AC.
And they have AC. It's just that the room is packed. What are you gonna do?
That's amazing. I love that.
Dude, get the steak sub with a side of salad. Tell them Amer sent you. It will change your life.
I will do that.
Melrose
Next time I'm there, I'll
restaurant.
definitely do that.
Oh, buddy. Oh, my mouth is watering
you
right
know,
now.
you're a foodie, man. You're
Oh,
like you get.
I'm
you
a
like
glutton.
Your food.
I don't know if I'm a foodie. I'm a glutton.
You like your food, man. You
I
know it.
I get a lot of mouth pleasures.
Do you cook?
No. No.
I mean, you cook your bagels.
Cook my bagels. What's funny is that if I'm eating for sustenance, okay, some people know this about me. 4 boiled eggs a day. That's how I start my day.
That's four. Is that 4 boiled eggs? Okay,
Yes.
that because they're boiled eggs. They're not as unhealthy as they.
No, but even if I fry them, they're eggs. Like just a little bit of
No,
olive
but
oil.
I think that
just to-
there is 4 is a lot. No,
No, dude, I'm a big guy.
you're right. You're
I'm
right. You're a big
fucking
dude.
strong.
Fucking-
Thinking, look
Do you
at
ever go to
this.
the gym?
Yeah, shut up. No, I have at home I do chin ups and push ups.
Yeah.
I like to
They're
have
pretty good. They're pretty good.
Yeah. No, I'm 235 pounds. You understand? To do
230 pounds.
235. I'm a big guy.
I'm 180.
You're 180. I am 50 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah, I don't
That's
see
insane.
it. I don't see it.
I do.
Did
I do it right here.
you ever play any sports?
No. I played boxing. Well, you don't play boxing.
You,
Ah,
you beat up people
I did boxing.
like competitively, or?
No. I just sparred a little bit, but I just truly enjoy. It's the only sport that if I wasn't gonna die
Yeah.
while doing it, I would do it.
I mean,
It's the thing that I.
it's
I
the
love
aftermath of boxing.
It's just I would spar a little, and then I would go on stage and I would have crazy headaches, and I would
Yeah.
slur my
I mean,
words.
they're knocking
and
you out.
And I already sound retarded when like my English is not great, so I'm like I can't.
What are you
I gotta-
talking about?
No, it's not. Trust me, dude. Sometimes I'm talking on stage and I'll say sentences and people like, I sound like I just landed in Canada.
What's your background?
I'm Lebanese.
Lebanese.
But I've been here for 30 odd years. Like I haven't I've been here for many years, but still
I
retarded.
hear today.
Hello? Like I'll say
So what do
expressions.
they speak in Lebanon?
Arabic and mostly Arabic and French. I
And
would
French.
say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you don't do comedy in French?
No.
You don't like it?
It's not that I don't like it. My heroes were Anglophone, so I started doing it in English. And then a couple of times I did it in French because I had to, because the crowd didn't speak French. It was like a bilingual show. I met a few French comedians at very low levels, because it was like a low-level show. And the cockiness that they had,
The French
because
scene, yeah.
French comedy is so, you get paid
I
after,
mean, that's like you get paid.
you get paid to breathe basically into a mic. And they had like, I'm like, you're not funny, but they're making money, and they're like, I'm like, you can't even
Well,
write a joke.
there's
So,
there's
I'm
like,
like-
a system that works for the French comedy
Yeah,
scene.
but I'm like, you know what? Every year I'm like, I need to try it. But then I'm like, I'll go to New Brunswick and I'll headline a show there.
Fair enough.
I should be smart. Every time I'm like, I should be smart and do French comedy. I am funny. I'm pretty sure I can be funny in French.
Well, I
just have to learn
I
it.
just think that being a month, like if I had like, let's say if I was here more off, like I'm here this summer, but like
Yeah.
I'm on the road on the weekends. But if I was here, like if I had to be a lot of the weekends in Montreal,
Yeah.
as much as I love doing sit shows and everything like that, it would give me anxiety not to be in a comedy club that was like legit, like I see Le Bordel.
Yeah. Yeah, Le Bordel is like the mecca of...
I mean, but that is.
Yeah.
I mean, for people that are doing comedy in Montreal, like
Yeah.
that's where you should like.
Oh,
if you speak French, you should be
I
playing that
have
club.
no... how can I say this? Location has no...
Interest.
It's not interest, but like gravitas
Yeah.
for me. I prefer to do a restaurant with 40 people that came to see me
Fair. No.
than
Same.
to do a club.
Same.
that
But
came
how
for
often
the
can
club.
you do that all the time? Like the thing is, like,
Listen,
to have like a place so you could.
There's
do workout
There
material.
are 4 weekends a month,
Fair enough.
right? If I'm
Yeah.
doing the road 2 weekends a month and then 2 other weekends I'm in Montreal,
It's,
I
the,
don't
it's
mind.
the, what I feel that Montreal is lacking in terms of like for. I love Montreal. The comedy scene is a
Yeah.
lot stronger, is a lot better.
Yeah.
It's to have a counterpoint, like to a like the comedy nest is the comedy nest has been a comedy nest for many decades. A legit, and I think Sid can do it, but like a club
Why?
that
Why?
I feel that it would make like I don't know, maybe it's like a
Listen, we're the counterculture.
yes.
The Montreal
like-
comedy series with Sid, that's the counterculture.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't take that away.
And-
I mean, I think that's great. I'm not
Yeah.
even saying it's Sid. I'm just saying like having a like Le Bordel in English.
Why?
I think it would make a little bit of a difference. I don't know. This is just maybe my brain.
As I said, I performed there. It is an amazing
Same.
club.
I mean,
You feel like a king every time I'm
I've
there.
gotten paid.
Yeah.
Good money at
Yeah,
Le Bordel.
you get paid. You treated like royalty. You have a beautiful.
I have a
green
lot of
room.
anxiety
And
before I
there's
get
like-
up on stage because I don't do comedy in
See,
French.
I have no because I have no anxiety. I did it in English when I did that. I have no,
No,
anxiety because
I've
I
done-
do shows and I'm like if I'm comfortable doing a room, I should be comfortable doing a big room.
Whenever I've done a set in French at Le Bordel, which
Yeah, I
has
haven't
been
done it in
several.
French, I'll give you that.
I like I remember like the first time that they like booked me for real. I did like 7 shows on a weekend.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's great.
Made
Money.
really good money,
Amazing money.
and every crowd was insane.
Yeah.
I was like, this is, I mean, comparable to the Comedy Cellar. I was like, this feels amazing.
It's the comedy
which,
cellar.
which is a vibe that you
Yeah.
don't get in the Anglo scene. That's
No,
what
we
I'm
don't
saying.
have that. It's true. I'll give you that. But I don't need, in the sense that now, am I looking for a vibe or am I looking to turn this into a career?
100%. This is me getting greedy. I'm just saying
Yeah.
if there was something, because I think to headline on the road,
Yeah.
you already have what you need, which is sits rooms,
Yeah.
that counterculture. Like I don't really think that there's anything else beyond that because you're really working your material and during the week,
Yeah,
and then you're
exactly.
going on
And then I
the
go
on the
on
road.
and exactly.
I did it a couple times this summer, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. It worked out. It was
That's all I
great.
need.
But for the people that are starting out,
Yeah.
that need some sort of like benchmark for
Mhm.
something, I find that like for me the benchmark when I first started was the Comedy Works.
Yeah. It was an amazing. It was a perfect club.
And if it shaped the way I thought about stand up in maybe it's outdated, maybe that doesn't hold up anymore. But like being able to see like legit comics
yeah.
and not
Well,
I
we
mean,
have the Nest in Montreal.
but
There's
the
always
Nest,
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get into the Nest thing because the Nest is.
But there's like international.
They do it
comics that
very
come.
differently.
Yeah.
They do it
We
very
have
differently.
We have there's always comics coming to now. They're coming more and more, and also you'll see a lot of comics from Montreal now. They'll just go do they'll go to Yuck Yucks in Ottawa. It's an hour and a half, 2 hour drive.
Yeah,
So this has become like it's like a Montreal club.
got it.
Yuck Yucks in Ottawa. Like if you want to do a club and see like I don't know,
Because I mean,
open for
no,
Graham K or whatever.
no offense to the Nest, but like that Yucks
It's fantastic.
location compared to like in terms of the vibe and everything, that is a comedy club. That is a
Yeah.
comedy club. The thing that was good about the Comedy Works
Yeah.
is that there was culture with it.
Yeah.
People would hang out at the bar. People would talk to the
Mhm.
headliner. There was something beyond just the performance.
Mhm.
Kind of like, here's your check.
I see
Bye.
what you mean, but I find now with the internet and there's so many podcasts and like there's so much knowledge, you can just absorb and learn. If you want to learn how to be funny and how to be a headliner, how to be a comedian, there's so much you can just absorb online that if you don't have
True.
that, it's
True.
okay.
True,
It's
true.
like, it's not the end of the world.
No, I think you're right. I think that there's a part of me that is longing for that vibe of the Comedy Works when I first when I was
The
first.
comedy was perfect. The Comedy Works was perfect because it was tiny room, low ceiling. It has
Oh, man.
the walls were rich with laughter. It was
It was
dingy.
perfect, dude. Perfect.
It was perfect. Comedy.
That
doesn't-
place,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
I
I loved it. That's where I learned how
I've
to become a
done
comedian.
many comedy clubs in my career.
Yeah.
That's still one of my favorites. Top 5.
When it burned down, everybody got sad because it was everybody's all the dirty comics.
But I'm
in
not talking about the
Montreal.
Comedy Wars.
Which one?
Comedy Wars died when Jimbo closed it. Whatever I was after, because I did that
Yeah.
a couple times, like
Yeah.
open mics
Yeah,
or
when-
whatever. Whatever black paint they put on that, whatever they did to that, it was not the same vibe at all.
But when Sid took over, it
Oh, yeah, yeah,
started
that-
to
it started to get better again.
to come back and get
Yes.
better. And this is because a lot of comics were dirty, and back when I started, it was like the woke movement was at its height. So it was, oh my God, like guys like me would not get booked often. But the Comedy Works always, like Sid's like, all right, go on stage, you know. Sid was a fucking,
Comedy Works,
he
when
was
he
a
took over-
karaoke guy, and like no one had power over anybody. So we all grew together. And the Comedy Works is where I learned how to be comfortable on stage, and oh, I love that place.
That place-
But now it's not like, c'est la vie. You know, now I'm like, okay, I can't reminisce about
You
the
know
good
what?
times or whatever. I just have
Forget
to
what I said.
look
I
forward.
think that you got to move forward. The counterculture is
Yeah.
what it is,
Yeah.
and I think it's very healthy. I think that the new comics that I've seen
Yeah.
and I've met are super funny, and there is a sense of community which didn't exist
Yeah.
before.
There's less bitterness. I find we're
That's
we're,
what I hated about when I first started here.
we're shielded from the bitterness. I find in a good
Uh,
way. There's
it-
still some bitterness. You just won't see it because you don't hang out with these people.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I feel that the when I first started, because it was such a small pie,
Yeah.
the people that were at the top needed to make sure that they put you down, and that was the biggest. That was the biggest downturn.
So much terrible advice I was given by subpar comedians who've been doing it like 2 years longer than me, but they had like some power because they've been doing it 2 years over me.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I'm talking about people, and also,
in our scene, yeah.
and the people that
And now I don't see them at all. They disappeared from the face
gone.
of the.
They don't
they're
even do
gone.
comedy anymore.
Terrible
And
comics.
I'm talking about veteran comics that would genuinely be mean to the new comics,
Yeah.
just because they could.
Just because they could. Yeah.
And it honestly, that kind of mentality and arrogance was it's so unethical.
I agree, but now, as first of all, I'm older in comedy, and also I'm older in life. I look at them, and what I see is they are people who had no future. In the sense that they had only no future, they had no future to look up to.
Yeah.
In the sense now we're lucky, we have shows, we have social media, there's so much you can work.
Yeah.
You can find a way to make it work. Even at my level, which is not a big level, you can find a way to make it. Back then there was nothing.
No, dude, zero.
There
Zero.
was nothing. There was an empty Comedy Works. you
Yeah.
know, before Sid took over, it was garbage.
I heard horrible things about that place.
There were like 4 or 5 open mics, and you had people who've been doing comedy for like 7 years, 8 years, and all they had was maybe I'll middle at the Works or at the Nest. That was like the height. That's all they could do. They had no business sense. People who had business sense, like Sugar Sammy, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna step out of the stupid circle and
Oh, yeah.
build my own thing.
Smartest thing.
That's the thing I learned from him. I just build my own thing and see what happens. But that circle who just like they were funny, but when you're just funny and there's no future, you just
You have scenes like you have groups of people like that in every scene where like you could feel the toxicity around that mentality, because
terrible.
you're not trying to elevate other people. You're trying to just like, I'm the top dog, and I always want to be
But again,
the top dog.
I don't think they see it as I'm the top dog.
Or whatever they
I
feel
think
it is.
they're like I'm making I don't know $50 a week, and this is the height. I'm never
These are as
gonna
good as it
make
gets.
more. There's no future. There's no clubs. No one would back then would think, oh, I'm just gonna find a bar that has karaoke. I'm gonna like, can we have it for one night to make?
Yeah.
They didn't have. Where are you gonna find the place? Like it's just the idea of doing the road, dude. 10 years ago, Google Maps was beginning. You understand?
You're right. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm driving and I can't see anything in front of me. I'm driving in pitch blackness. I'm literally looking at the screen in my car to know when I need to turn. Because if I don't, I would just fall into the abyss.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of that. It's just, God bless them. Good luck. Like, if I would meet someone who was mean to me back then, because there were so many people who were mean to me back then.
For sure.
I'm like, God bless you. God help you, man. I hope you're doing
names.
better.
I have 2 people.
I have 1, 2,
You know what,
3, 4, 4 to 5 people that
No,
I'm like,
I have
I
a
don't
lot
trust
more
you.
than 2. No, but the thing for me is like, honestly, the feelings that I had back then are not the same that I have now.
Because you're successful now. You're a headliner.
I have compassion for people that were doing that. I just think that it's unfair for the newer comics, and that's why when I meet someone that is starting out, that is just starting to do comedy, like whatever, a year, 2 years, whatever. I always try to give them the advice that I would have wanted when I first started, and not that sort of like jaded.
Wear a condom.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't make a baby when you're 22.
Best advice that I got was Massimo's advice, and he is a brilliant human being.
Yeah.
It was at the Comedy Works.
Let's bring let's take the mic close to you so you can say it.
Yeah, right here. There you go. Thank you, Gloria. Best advice he gave me, it was Comedy Works. After an open mic he hosted the out of it. It was amazing. One of the best open mics ever. And I was like 6 months in, and I was like, Massimo, like you're so funny. Like, I just started like 6 months ago. Like, what do I do? And he was like, 6 months ago, like, but do it for a year, and if you like it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and what after that? And he's like, well, if you like it after a year, you keep doing it.
Yeah,
and he's like, what after? I was like, then you keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's it. It's like, just it.
Yep.
And then he just was drinking whiskey, and then he left. He wasn't. And that at the time I was like, whoa, he was like, that was the right advice. Because everyone else that I asked for any sort of like guidance made sure that I want you to quit. I want you to leave.
Wow.
I had a comic tell me that I was unreliable and that I was not bookable. When I was like, I only asked if I could do. I'll tell you. I'll tell you off the record, because we don't want.
Do I know him?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
And this comic hurt my feelings. Maybe they didn't realize that they did that, but I went home and I was like I cried, and I was like, because it was personal. I was like, this dude called me unbookable and unreliable, and I don't even know. I don't think he even knows my name.
It's just mean for the sake of being mean.
And that's what it was. And so that's, now I understand it. Like, fast forward 15 years later or 14 years later.
He was probably unbookable and unreliable.
He was not in a good place.
Yeah.
There's a person that was not getting any work.
Yeah.
He was probably not making any money.
There's no work to get to.
And then you see this young guy being like, can you give me advice? But you. Like, why would I give you advice? Now, that is his approach. I wouldn't have done that. I would have been like, hey, man, you're not ready. Keep working on your stuff.
I've heard few advices. Advice, can you pluralize an advice?
Yeah, advices, yeah.
Advices. Before I go on stage, I was doing a show with Joey Elias. I was still an open micer. He was headlining. He was like, I was doing a Wednesday in Kingston. And he was with me, he's like, just have fun, man.
Joey's
great
great.
advice. Just have fun. Just before you go on stage, just have fun. Another great advice is Sid. Sid is full of wisdom that he hides until like he doesn't like to show how smart he is. We're doing a show and everybody was like, oof, it was rough. It was like a corporate, and he looked at me, he's like, just go all in, man. Like, he knew how to talk to me.
I like it.
Because he knows when I go all in, when words bypass my brain, they just go from the universe, come out of my mouth. Just go all in. I'm like, that's good advice. Derek's again once outside the Comedy Works. He's like, if you want to succeed in this business, you gotta have chutzpah. And he grabbed his balls. Like, have chutzpah. And
That's
it's just
funny. I love that. Simple.
Yeah, Scott Andrew Carter. I don't know if he still does comedy. He was just a couple of years, maybe doing it more than me. I'm like, I don't know where I am. He's like, you're exactly where you need to be.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm like, he was a very gentle, sweet man. I'm like, this is You're an open mic about to go. I was about to go up on at Grumpy's. He's like, "This is where you need to be. You're
love it.
exactly where you need to be."
I love it.
And these are
The
like,
simple advice,
Yeah.
simple, cut to the chase, boom.
Yeah.
And that's all. That a younger comic only needs to hear something that is going to encourage them to
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to do it anymore, they don't. They just move on. They quit.
Usually,
Unless they're
yeah.
a psycho, and then you
Yeah.
want to like move away from them.
Yeah.
But
But I find the older I get, the less I see. Like I hear stories now of like the new open micers, like this guy who threatened to throw the stool at the bartender. I'm like, I'm old now. I don't deal with this
dude, that's
craziness. I'm so happy I don't have to deal with guys. I remember there was a guy who was, I think he took an aloe leaf, like he came on stage with a huge aloe leaf. I think he started rubbing aloe on his. I'm like, I'm so out of this. No, I have to be funny for money.
Fuck.
It's great.
Dude, it's funny you brought Joey Elias. I only had like 2 interactions with him, and one of those interactions was in Absolute Ottawa, 2017. This is after I had like been in New York for a couple of years, and he was headlining.
Yeah.
And that's when like I messaged Jason to like, hey, can I like I'm in here. That's when I got engaged, and I was in Montreal for like 6 months. Whereas that's where I started Peroni with Ali. And anyways, I just went to Ottawa because I gotta get on. I gotta be on a roster. I gotta be somewhere. So Jason, I was like, yeah, man, like, and then I went, and he agreed, and then I went to showcase for him.
Yeah.
And I went up and I did whatever. It's a set. It's Ottawa. Like, you don't bomb. You do fine.
Yeah.
So I get off and I was like, Jason, what do you think? And he was not happy. And he was like mean to me.
he's a special guy.
And I was like, I forget what he said. He was something like, well, that's just not like, I think you were like funnier or something. Like, he said something like, I'm like, what the And then he leaves, and I'm in the green room with my fiance and Joey.
Oh.
And then they're talking about Das Bagels. Das Bagels, which closed.
Pretty good bagels.
Didn't they close? No. They were talking about Cosmo, who closed. It was a diner in NDG.
Cosmo closed and Dad's Bagel closed.
That's Bagel. Okay.
Or they change owner or
whatever.
something. Yeah.
Something. They were talking about NDG because he's an NDG guy.
Yeah.
They're talking about that, and I'm like, he could see that I'm like visibly in my head because Jason just told me to pretty much stuff. And then he's like, he looked at me. He's like, man, you're in New York. What are you gonna be in Ottawa?
Yeah.
I was like, no. And he was like, then what do you care? Move on. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're never gonna do this place. And it was like the most liberal. Like, he's like, you're never gonna see this guy ever again.
Yeah.
It was the most genuine, and he's headlining, and he's the one telling me like, bro,
Gives a shit.
don't even worry about it. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, to me, that was like a legit veteran guy being like, shit, don't even think about it. That is nice.
Yeah.
It feels good when a veteran guy says, don't worry about it.
And he's right.
Oh yeah. And that comment made my whole night be better.
And I bet you did better the next time you went on.
I never went back.
You know?
I never went back.
You literally took it word per word.
I have a legit problem that once I blacklist someone or something.
Yeah.
It's not that I blacklist, but I just if someone is genuinely being a
Yeah.
I make it my mission not to avoid that.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Negative energy. You don't want to next to it. It's funny, that same guy, I did his competition and I did well. And off stage after the show, he's like,
"Oh, Jason." Yeah.
I don't want to say name because I want to make a clip with it.
Okay, that guy.
So this guy, he's like, you smile too much, man, while you're on stage. I'm like,
stupidest fucking
I'm killing.
comments.
And then he called me a. So I'm like, all right, well, I can't.
No. He says, like, he just drops it, like, no problem. He might have actually called me a faggot too.
Well, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't know. I think he just drops it like it's no big deal.
Plus, that city. Have you been to Laugh Lounge?
No, but
it's a great room.
I just heard that they made
it's a great room. It's a great room. I've done it before. I like Nick. He's a comedian, so he knows how to. He's a good guy. If you I don't know, you want to do more shows, hit him up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hopefully, I mean, I Ottawa seems like a really great place for comedy, and it's like those owners and those people that have like a monopoly going on or something going on, and they have like this power trip to be like, and like, I mean, I'll give him credit for being a very successful.
I mean, he has 2 clubs. Yeah,
But he runs them very well.
Yeah.
Like in terms
Oh,
of
yeah.
like the crowds are
Yeah.
great. That's why people go. That there's demand. Like I give him credit for that. Would I ever want to be friends with him or associated with him? Absolutely not. But I'll give him credit for being a decent club owner. Whatever is after saying the F word, saying whatever he does in his own time,
Yeah.
playing golf with his friends and doing whatever and being mean to younger comics. If you get off doing that,
That's-
awesome, be you. But that's not a nice person.
No.
And comedy's littered with people that are assholes.
Just young when you're young as a comedian, there's so like your ego is so fragile.
Yeah.
It's just so tough. Just the bombing and the rejection, and I didn't come from a world where I was getting rejected so much. I came from, I did my bachelor, I did my master's, I worked. I came from the corporate world. So the good thing is that I came old. I started at 30 something.
Yeah.
So I came with a certain maturity. I'm not gonna get face on a Tuesday that this doesn't make sense for me. So I avoided, those pitfalls of beginner comics of just getting drunk on, every night.
Yeah.
But I wasn't used to that level of just constant rejection.
Just
after
rejection.
And now I'm so comfortable with rejection. Oh my God!
You have to be.
I'm with my girlfriend. Hey, sweetie, you wanna? Nah, I'm too tired. Hey, salam alaikum.
I'll go do another show.
I'm gonna go write a new joke about this. Like I'll deal. Like you get comfortable with rejection that you understand it's not personal. It's just business.
And I get it,
it's
man.
So important.
Like,
Yeah.
I get it, and that's what makes this such a challenging business, because part of me has compassion for club managers like Jason,
Yeah.
like these people, that because they're like, they do handle
And they
a
have to deal
disproportionate.
with open
They have to deal with open markets. I give him. Maybe that's why he's so intense.
It messed him up.
Because he has to deal with people that are on his case all the time, messaging for like avails and
Imagine.
like being featured. I get it. He's
Imagine being Howard, Jason, or like Sid.
yeah. It's
Just
horrible.
the mental illness you have
There's
to deal
a
with.
part of me that feels for them,
Yeah.
but in my DNA, I don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't behave. I wouldn't say something mean to someone for the sake of being mean.
Maybe, Santi, you needed that hate to push you to the greatness you are now.
1,000%.
I've had people who told me face to face, "You'll never succeed. And I'm like, well, I'm still doing comedy, and you're not.
Yeah.
You're a loser.
You need a little bit of people
I'm a loser who headlines
pushing you down
buddy.
a little bit.
I think every hero needs an evil villain
Yeah.
to push you. Pettiness is an underrated source of energy, and I'm learning how to use it. I'm headlining a sold-out show this Friday
Dude, muscle talk.
out of pettiness.
All those things are just outside factors
Yeah.
that are trying to bring you down. So
Yeah,
all
but-
you can do
yeah.
is bet on yourself, as you're saying.
Yeah.
And if you're legitimately funny, the people will be able to dictate whether
At the end of the
that
day,
is
it's
true
the
or
people
not.
who are going to put money in your pocket. And I'm pretty funny, so I've been having no
100%.
problem
That's
with
why
it.
we're still doing it, and I can vouch for your funniness, and in a way, bless you.
Oh, thank you.
In a way that
was
like
crazy.
you've been to New York and you've been funny in New York.
In Arabic culture, if someone sneezes after someone says something, it means it's true. And I said, I know I'm funny, and I'm like, oh wait, it has to come out now to go
to
with
validate
this.
that.
I'm like, come on. It's just
Really, that's a thing? God damn it!
Like, let's say I say like, oh, I love bagels, and then you sneeze. Like, oh, let's prove that what he's saying is the truth.
I didn't know you when I first met you in New York. I was like, oh man, he's actually very funny.
Thank you,
I
brother.
was hoping that you were gonna bomb or something, because I could be like, Sid, never give me these again. And then you were like super funny, and I'm like, oh bro, then maybe we can hang out afterwards.
Yeah, dude, what a fun night! I told you, it's the gayest thing I've ever done with another.
Didn't we even? I think
we went
didn't
for ice cream, bro.
We went for ice cream. And
We
we
had
took a picture with David Tell, didn't we?
we took a picture with
Oh,
Dave
that's so
Attell.
gay. That's so.
Dave Attell was he was playing the flute down the
He
staircase.
was. What a weirdo.
I love him. He's one of the best.
Oh, he's one of the greatest
Yeah.
comics.
It was just what a fun weekend.
Yeah, he was
That's
playing who plays a flute outside of the cellar with like no reason?
in a corner. It's like
That's bizarre behavior.
And now in his special he plays the flute at the end. Isn't that crazy?
Maybe that's what he was doing. He was practicing.
He, was,
the flute.
he knew where's the next. All right, wait. How long have we been recording? Oh boy, an hour 30. My God, we are
Great.
busting numbers, ladies and gentlemen.
This
Thank
is
you so
great.
much for listening, Santi,
Bro.
buddy. Where can
Thank you
people
for
catch
having
you?
me. Listen, man, you can follow me on Instagram at Santiago Comedy. Just go there.
Yeah, go there, guys. Go see him. If you speak Espanol or if you speak English, go check him out. He's a great guy. He's a great comic. You're gonna love him. It was a comedy-heavy podcast. It's always comedy-heavy with us. It's this
comedy heavy. Yeah, we did talk about bagels
and comedy-heavy and
poutine.
bagels. Gabe, let's call this comedy-heavy and bagels. That's the name of the podcast.
That's it.
Podcast.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and always fun to talk to you.
Habibi.
I'm a big fan of what you're doing, man.
Likewise.
I don't really just. I'm not just saying it for the sake of saying it. I've said no to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
And I said yes to you because it's you.
It's the mug.
This is the only Montreal podcast I'll do in the next 10 years. I don't. People that saw me here, I'm not gonna do your podcast. Just so you know. So I'm just doing this one.
Thank you, brother.
All right,
Means a lot. I love you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother.
Listen, subscribe, tell your friends, blah blah blah. Eugene, I love you. Gabe, I love you. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Mwah. Thank you.